I'm Major League, and this is the 5 stories you should know for today, February 16th, 2026. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe and share with your community. Let's go. The fundamental stability of the U.S. government is fracturing as we enter the first week of a partial government shutdown. This isn't just your normal budget dispute or a typical piece of Washington theater. This is a deliberate stall in funding for the Department of Homeland Security that has left TSA agents, FEMA employees, and the Coast Guard working without pay. Democrats are holding their ground against the administration's aggressive deportation policies, refusing to sign off on a budget that further weaponizes these agencies against immigrant communities. But the stakes couldn't be higher for the thousands of federal workers currently in financial limbo, and for the millions of Americans who rely on these services for safety and travel. This shutdown is a direct result of this administration's xenophobia and its prioritizing ideological purity over the needs of states and their people. While the government stays dark, the shadow of the Epstein files is looming over the Department of Justice. Attorney General Pam Bondi is facing intense scrutiny on Capitol Hill as lawmakers from both parties demand to know if the DOJ has actually released all relevant records. Bondi claims the files are out, but the House Oversight Committee is now reviewing unredacted documents for the first time, looking for names that may have been intentionally shielded. This is about more than just old scandals. It's about whether our legal system is capable of holding the most powerful people in the world accountable for horrific crimes. If the Department of Justice is cherry-picking which names to expose and which to protect, then we don't have a justice system. We have a protection racket for the wealthy and the elite. Accountability doesn't have an expiration date, and the pressure is mounting to ensure that every single individual involved in this network finally faces a courtroom. The attack on truth and justice is also playing out on the streets of Philadelphia, where a federal judge just had to order the Department of the Interior to stop erasing history. The court ruled that slavery exhibits at the President's House site in the Independence National Historic Park must be immediately restored after the administration tried to strip them away. This move was part of a broader effort to sanitize American history by removing narratives that don't fit their specific white nationalist agenda. When we stop telling the truth about our past, we lose the ability to fix the problems of our present. This is about the right to the public to have access to an honest accounting of our national story. Civil rights organizations and historians are rightfully sounding the alarm that this attempt to rewrite history is a precursor to dismantling the protections that history taught us we needed in the first place. As these battles over history and justice continue at home, our administration's economic policies are starting to hit the kitchen table in a form of massive price hikes. New data shows that the aggressive tariffs imposed on trading partners like Canada, Mexico, and the EU are functioning as a direct tax on American households. Estimates now suggest that these trade barriers will cost the average U.S. family an extra $1,300 this year alone. While the administration frames these moves as America first, the reality is that they are raising the cost of everything from groceries to electronics while risking a global economic slowdown. We are seeing a redistribution of wealth from the working class to the federal treasury through hidden taxes that most people won't even realize they're paying until their bank accounts are empty at the end of the month. It's a cynical economic strategy that trades long-term stability for short-term political posturing. And the most vulnerable Americans are the ones who will pay the highest price. Finally, we are seeing the human cost of these policies in a heartbreaking story out of Chicago. Ophelia Torres, a 16-year-old girl who became a national symbol of the fight against ICE, has passed away from cancer. Ophelia spent her final months tirelessly campaigning for the release of her father, Ruben, who was swept up in this administration's recent immigration crackdowns. Her death highlights the profound cruelty of a system that tears families apart even in their moments of greatest need. This is the reality of the zero-tolerance approach. It doesn't target individuals. It destroys communities. It destroys entire support networks and leaves children to face their darkest hours alone. We have to ask ourselves, what kind of country we want to be when we allow bureaucracy to trump basic human compassion. Ophelia's fight shouldn't end with her passing, but should instead serve as a reminder that these policies have real, devastating consequences for families across the country every single day. Thank you so much for subscribing to Major League TV. Drop your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation.